Today, we're diving into this really powerful idea about the difference between pain and suffering. And, maybe more importantly, the surprising amount of control we might actually have over which one we experience. So let's start with this statement right here, because it really gets you thinking. It's the core of what we're talking about today. The idea that, yeah, life is going to throw painful stuff our way. That's a given. But the suffering, the part that really grinds us down, that might just be a choice.
Okay, so let's be super clear here. When we talk about suffering, we are talking about our psychological and emotional response to something that happens. This is not about pretending that awful things don't occur. Of course they do. It's about drawing a line between the event itself and our own internal reaction to it. You know, there's an ancient Buddhist story that just perfectly illustrates this distinction between pain and what we're calling suffering. It's known as the parable of the two arrows. And this really breaks it down, doesn't it? The first arrow, that's the initial hit. Getting laid off, a tough breakup, hearing some bad news, that's the unavoidable pain of life. But the second arrow, that's our reaction. That's the story we start telling ourselves about what just happened. And that, right there, is where the suffering really begins. So, just imagine it. The first arrow strikes. Ouch, it hurts. But then, almost instantly, we grab a second arrow and shoot it right into ourselves. We get mad at ourselves for getting hurt, we start spiraling into fear about what this all means, or we just replay the hit over and over in our minds. That second hit, that one's self-inflicted. And this brings us right to the heart of the matter. We can't always control that first arrow. Life happens. But the second one, our reaction, that is totally up to us. It's optional. But, okay, as soon as you hear this, it brings up a really tough question, right? It's a paradox that I think a lot of us run into. I mean, it sounds so simple on paper, but when you're actually in it, it feels anything but. Yeah, let's just dive right into that because it's a completely fair question. If suffering is a choice, why does it feel so automatic, so impossible to just not choose? I mean, come on, who in their right mind would willingly choose to suffer? So, the source material for this whole explainer actually follows someone's personal quest to solve this exact puzzle. And it's a journey that I think a lot of us are going to find incredibly relatable. This deep search for a way to stop launching that second arrow.
And when I say they tried to find an answer, I mean they tried everything. We're talking studying psychology, reading hundreds of books, therapy, new diets, insane discipline like 4 a.m. wake-up calls, meditation every single day, spiritual retreats. I mean, you name a self-help method, it was probably on this list. And here's the real kicker. After all that searching, all of that intense effort, the suffering was still there. That daily grind of anxiety, fear, irritation, frustration, it didn't go away. In fact, the authors said they felt even more lost and hopeless than when they first started.
It wasn't until hitting that complete rock bottom, that feeling of having no direction left, that a completely different kind of answer started to show up. A little bit of hope, but from a place they totally weren't expecting.
The big breakthrough wasn't some new technique or another habit to master. No, the answer was a fundamental shift in understanding. It was this realization that our experience of life isn't actually created by what happens to us, but by our own thoughts about what happens to us. Our feelings come from our thinking, not from the world out there.
And that's really the final thought I want to leave you with. What if the solution to dodging that second arrow isn't about doing more, but about seeing more clearly? What if the real key isn't another action item for your to-do list, but this deep insight that we can actually choose how we relate to our own thoughts, the very things that create that second arrow in the first place?